Hi everyone, 5:30 in the morning, birds are singing, and I had this urge coming from my soul, through my heart, through the portal of my heart, to talk about things that people tell me about every day, things that are happening in my own life, and how it all correlates. So a lot of you, like me, always knew since childhood that you were not from this planet. In my case, I remember waking up in the middle of the night. It was either one of two. Sometimes I would come to the window and start crying, looking at the sky with bright stars, and I would pick this one star and would keep saying to myself, this is my home, this is my home, I know that's where I belong to. And my mother would hear me cry, and she would come to the room and ask me what's going on, and I would tell her, I just know you're not my mom, I love you very much, I know you're taking care of me and I love you, but this is where I have to go, but I don't know how to go there. That would be one scenario would happen every other night. And then I would always sleep with the light on, because I would tell her that, well, I used to tell her that crocodiles are coming for me at night. And like every parent is told, oh yeah, kids are having nightmares, just ignore. And she would say, okay, that's fine. My mother was very nice, kind person. She was not of this world. She was too kind for this world, too high of a consciousness, too wise, as people used to say, and too loving for everybody, even for those who meant not so well regarding towards her. And I remember, so she would put there was one time when my lamp went on fire because she would put a little sheet of fabric over the light. I lived in Soviet Union back in Ukraine. It was former Soviet Union. We didn't have much, even the shaded lamps, it was a problem. So she would put this thin sheet of fabric over it, and I would sleep with all the lights on in the room, or at least one shaded light. And I remember the ceiling would open up, and those reptilians would come. There was this one particular one I still remember. He was brown skinned in the military uniform, like camouflage, dark brown mixed with green uniform. And he would take me through the corridor to the Mars base. And you can't talk about it unless you have the same memories like I do. But back in those times, I was born in the 70s, I mean, I kept it all to myself. And everybody tried to convince me that was just, from my friends whom I would open up, no, just your imagination. But it was my imagination, because years later, James Rink from channel Starseed Talk was the other guy whom he knows, who came to me later from Super Soldier Talk, came to me and asked me for a session, which I did. I still have it on my channel. He gracefully agreed for me to publish it. I just had to cover his face, so I covered the whole window with the black, that's all I could do at that point in terms of editing my videos. And that's how it all started. Then I had an interview on Starseed Talk. My daughter had an interview on Starseed Talk, and she had a regressive hypnosis session because she was sleepwalking at night. She would wake up with her eyes closed, walking speaking her elf language, as she would always explain. And actually, you can watch those interviews. She talks about her elf planet and how she got tricked into coming here. And the more she grows, the more she gets into nature. We still have her pet bunny, her rabbit, her best friend, whose soul came from her elf planet. She always talks about him. But for those of you who married a person, and then that person was certain, that person resonated with you at a time of marriage, right? But then you started rapidly growing in your consciousness level, in your understanding. You woke up. I had Kundalini awakening simply because I believe that I've been meditating since I was 16, because my mom, she had a doctorate degree in immunology, and to her institute where she had students, the Maharishi Yogi came from USA, and they taught Ukrainians to meditate. And she happened to be the one who knew English very well, so she translated for them. And because of, she's very, she was amazing the way people felt her, she felt people. They offered her, I was with her just to watch, because she would bring me a lot to her job, to her work. And they offered to teach me to meditate with a mantra. They gave me mantra according to my vibration, as they explained, and I was chanting the mantra and meditating since I was 16. But then my meditation changed. I went through all kinds of meditation. If you tried all of them, that's me. And I think that's a path for every awakened person. First you tried maybe this type of meditation. People, of course, went through guided, then they realized it's not working for them, because in each guided meditation, person whose voice sounds conveys and emits certain frequency, and sometimes frequency does not coincide with you, especially, and sometimes even worse, and this person in guided meditation has entities that through meditation can walk over to you and get attached to you. But that came with experience. Everything I share with you is like my experience. Back to my situation here. I just feel like I need to share it with you, because there's a lot of women who come to me for sessions and they're in the same exact scenario. And they're stuck simply because they signed that marriage certificate back then when they resonated with their spouse or man. I also had men for sessions who don't resonate with their wife either anymore. And then you have kids, and you need to give all your love. Kids cannot live without mothers. I can tell you this from experience also, because my mother passed away when she was 47. I was 21. My brother, 5, exactly how many? So he turned March 5th. He turned 11, and she passed away on March 11. He turned 11. She passed away on March 11. 6 days later. My brother stopped talking. He wasn't talking at all. And I went through such experiences when I started seeing my mother's soul. I started seeing people's auras. I opened up through trauma. And it happens a lot. Those who listen to me, a lot of you know what I mean, because it happened to you also. Because in this planet, we are meant, the whole core of this game is built upon suffering and fear. But one little side effect from suffering and fear is us waking up through the experience of suffering and fear. And that's what happened to me. And now, there's interesting things going on right now. Everybody I know, all the telepaths I've ever met in College of Grifazi Academy, I did so many, I guess 9 investigation sessions for him on his investigation English channel. I sent him one telepath, the girl I knew. She did a few sessions for him too, but she was my client. She was my former client that I saw that she could, she was great at going under, and she actually did sessions with me and James to get information for his books, for his articles. It was a fun experience. I mean, someday I'll write a book about what I've done, what I experienced, all the people I've met in my life. I'm thankful to all of them, despite how it ended up with them. Bet you Dave too. You know, you ask a lot about him, but he's going through transformation too, as I see. He understood a lot of things, and you know, I could start doing sessions with him already now, you know, if he only connected to me. There was this other guy, a doctor, he was from Russia, from Philadelphia. I've done a lot of sessions with him. As a matter of fact, yesterday I discovered, my client sometimes asks me, like, can you send me a link of the session with this information, that information? And I happened to see this session I published on October, November 20, 2020. So 4 years ago, right? He asked me, how does Russia look like? And I saw a cup. You know how like subconscious communicates with you through images. I saw a cup, and the cup falls apart, like in little pieces, like a teacup. And then I told him that for some reason the whole Russia is covered with people in military uniform. He didn't ask me more questions, but if he did, I would have said that a word. You know, I would have said for sure that they were gonna attack Ukraine and the war was gonna start and all this, but he just closed up on that. He asked me about the city Kazan in Russia, and I actually said it looks like Vatican, and he said, oh, that's exactly what it is, because Russia is another project of Vatican. But the Vatican, they're gonna become Vatican for a short time, but they're gonna fall like a Roman Empire fell. That's what I see, at least on this time we're at right now. So back to the situation, how you feel. You get the strange pains, you get headaches, you feel dizzy. I mean, I went through a time when I used to get dizzy every day at 6 p.m. Or your heart would hurt, and my youngest daughter would say, Mom, our heart's expanding. I know it. And for you to understand, I mean, I don't expose her to my information. She doesn't watch my videos. She's only 8. So, but she knows such profound things also about people, how they behave, why they behave that way. She tells me exactly what the handler in my family does to me and why he does to me. Why he does that to me. What's the purpose behind it? Because basically very strong souls, especially those incarnated in woman's body, we have very strong energy, and the males, basically they cannot survive without us for a long time. We are the engine of everything. We have this amazing creative energy that men crave, and it comes to the point of the fact, do you see how many women realized that they're perfect on their own? I mean, it's not always the fact, but a lot of them, because they went different ways with their spouses. It was men the same thing. A lot of men realized they're growing and their spouse doesn't grow, and that's when all the problems happen, because the partner who expects from you certain things, you know, and they're still stuck in very physical interpretation of this world of 3D. They need to eat, sleep, and, you know, have intimate times. And you're already grown into something. It's either you have a person whom you absolutely resonate with, but all you do is you talk about energy stuff, metaphysical stuff, what you feel, what you know, the whole world opening up for you. It's like when you're a little child, like my children, my daughter, Marina, when she was 2.5, she told me that she came from 11th Planet. She remembers how she picked her mom. And that's the story of many children as my clients. I mean, I've had clients for the past 5 years. My Skype is a horror story. It's over 1,000 contacts on there. I have to clean it somehow. Maybe I'm not a technical person, maybe you know how to do it quickly. But, and can write to me in comments about it. So, and we're going through this transformation period. When I was talking to my friend from Chicago yesterday, and she told me that the same exact thing she told me what my other friend who is in Edinburgh, Scotland with her kids, because she fled the first day of war. They all tell me the same thing, and the list goes on and on. I hear the stories from people every day. They ask me, Oksana, why am I trying to avoid people? Why don't I want to be with people? Everything they talk about is not interesting for me. Like, they frustrate me. On one hand, I have compassion for them. I understand they're stuck in this 3D materialistic world. On the other side, I actually, it's almost hurting me inside to stay with them, listen to their criticizing others, talking about others, and all these talks of 3D, all that we've gone through. We've been that before we woke up. And they all talk about the same thing. Like, and this woman yesterday, she's a fantastic writer of children's books, and she said, like, she has ideas, but she doesn't have energy in her to write it. And she has small children also. It's not easy to find time, but you have to listen to your body. We're all going through tough times. We're shedding a lot of past. Those who live in the past are never transitioned, and their souls really refuse the body, because the body is instrument, like a conductor of the thoughts, ideas, the purpose that soul puts up for itself, like creates for itself for this life. Even if you're caught and forced to live in this life like I was, my soul still came up with the idea, hey, you have knowledge, I'll give you knowledge, and you share with others, you help others to transition into the new game, into new world of different consciousness level, where people are different. They don't think about wars, killing, dominating others in order to feel better about themselves. People with zero self-esteem, I live with one, zero self-esteem, and that person tries to dominate me in front of others to show how big he is, how powerful he is. But that's never gonna help. It's gonna help at the moment, but later the person is gonna have to do the same over and over and over to show that he's more powerful, he's more dominant, he is better than me, even though deep down he knows he's not, and he's always doubting himself, and he will always doubt himself, because you need to develop yourself. You need to grow inside yourself to do something about it. And that's when your self-esteem grows. Your purpose and understanding comes to you through your soul, through your heart portal. And that's when you feel like excited about life and sharing your experience and doing something to help others. And everything else comes. You don't need to beg for it. You don't need to ask for it. It just magically comes when you enjoy doing what you do. And I know we're in duality. Always remember, we're in duality. Every time it's super hard for me. Every time I go through tough periods, like I'm going through now, it doesn't restrict me from helping others. When I go into trance, I'm in a different world. It actually stimulates, my situation at home stimulated me to open up more in terms of I get information even before the session, and so much of it about the person. I get information about the person when you write to me an email. I already know what you're all about. I see through the energy of writing of that person, you know, what that person wants from me, if that person is sincere, how nice that person is, what the consciousness level is. And it's amazing. I mean, I love this. I love doing it. So always remember, that's gonna be my final words here for this video. Always remember that you're always guided by your soul. If you're connected, if you look at everything from a certain observer. But I know I'm not only an observer, I'm a director of my life, I'm a creator, I'm also an actor, and sometimes actor has emotions, and I actually let myself those emotions out, because you also have to put in a strong position, put yourself in a strong position in front of others so others don't hurt you. You have to let yourself live through emotions, because if you accumulate emotions and cover them up with, oh, I forgive that person, but deep down you don't, those emotions are gonna cause you have negative programs in your subconscious, and that energy of negativity, you know, of that little tiny dissatisfaction with something in your life is going to screw up your creation, your manifestation. So let yourself live through it to the fullest, and then it goes away. And when you stop having thoughts about that person, or that situation, or that boss, or that family, you know, something going on in the family, then it means that nothing is attached to you. You're totally free of the situation. It happens every time, you know. Or sometimes you even have to go, close your eyes, go back into a situation that keeps giving you thoughts, and you keep thinking about it. Go back to that situation, feel it through with your emotions, and then you let it go. It's magical. This is my own personal experience. I know how it works, but the best way that I've learned from my own experience is just to live through the moment, let your emotions out. I mean, you don't have to let these emotions out in front of the person, you know, in the situation, but after you can, and they go away, and you say goodbye. Because the thing is about this transition to the new level of consciousness with other people is not to live in the past, not to remember past, whatever happened yesterday. And actually the solar flares help us with that. Are you the same as me when you forget what you ate in the morning and what you were wearing when you came to the beach? That's totally me these days. And also you feel like younger inside, you feel more energy inside. Everything's duality. On one hand, you can be struggling with the situation at home, on the other side, you feel like everything's gonna be so great. It's just, you know, it's just a black corridor you're going through, but then there's gonna be a white one, black and white stripes, like zebra, like my shirt, you know. So always remember that every situation happens for the best for you. It's just one of the steps to the perfect picture in your mind's eye that you imagine yourself that you already have and you experience. Because steps towards that picture can be viewed by our brain, that decodes and gives everything a name, as negative. But in fact, it's not that negative. At the moment it feels like it, but then you look back and thinking, oh wow, that felt so negative, but actually that's for the best of me. And when you get to that point, you give yourself so much power. You know you're gonna make it, and you're gonna fly through it with ease. That's what I feel. And you know, these days just my old friends whom I forgot about call me, find me through different platforms, and they tell me that Oksana, you were right, I'm awakened now, I know what you meant back then when I couldn't understand your information. And it feels like my purpose right now at this moment is to explain things to my my old friends, and to support them. So if you watch this video, if you know me, if you need my help, you know, I'll just get on the phone and talk with you like I talked with my friend from Chicago yesterday for a long time. And I know it helps her, and it gave me so much pleasure and happiness that I helped the soul. Yeah, there's nothing compared to this feeling. Anyway, have a nice day, and it's 6 o'clock now. I have to go swimming, as I always do every morning, to the ocean. Bye bye, everybody. Bye.